There have been a lot of people saying, oh, but the M1A1 Ukraine has 1980s technology. Not necessarily the case. This is me right next to my M1A1SA that we drew in 2009 before taking it to Iraq in 2009, 2010. We drew MRAPs, but this is me behind my tank. What you can't see is you can see the SCWS on there. You can't see the BIOC, the pulse jet system, the RTNB, the RHNB, the DVE, many of the different additions that the SA Abrams brought to the platform. Now, that's not to say that the base M1A1 Abrams, like the Ames or the HC variant, were any less lethal. It's just that there were some nice creature comforts that were added with the SA variant that Ukraine has. It's not a 1980s tank. However, if we're going to go talk back to, well, the M256 main gun, which I don't know if that's the sticking point that a lot of people are talking about, but that is the same M256 main gun firing the same ammunition that is used in the M1A2 Set V2 and Set V3. It still can fire M829 variant ammunition, can fire the M831A1 MPAT rounds. Understand that the primary focus of the Abrams tank in Ukraine is to be used as either direct fire infantry support or sort of in an indirect fire, lobbing around into a woodline sort of thing that they're doing. They're not using it primarily as a tank-on-tank fighter because the Russians are hiding their tanks. They're not primarily bringing them out to engage other armored vehicles. Now, there are a couple of cases, as we have seen with the Bradleys engaging that T90M to great effect. But by and large, we're not seeing large-scale tank-on-tank conflict like we did in Desert Storm. Based off of a very recent, and I mean a last couple days as this video is airing in late May of 2024, based off a recent video with Ukrainian tankers that were on CNN, they are backing all this up, which is where I'm getting this information from the Ukrainian tankers in that video, saying that they're using heat rounds, they're using like MPAT rounds, they're using it as an indirect fire role versus using all the sabos. Now they have resorted to using sabos in a direct fire infantry support role, which is not ideal. It is not designed for that, and you just have an arrow you're trying to hit a target with versus something that like a heat round that is designed to destroy lightly armored vehicles, field fortifications, things of that nature. Now, the biggest threat that is currently facing the Abrams, the Leopard 2, you name it, whatever vehicle that is entering the Ukrainian battlefield, whatever vehicle it is being swarmed by drones. And there's very little that those vehicles can do to counter that threat currently because Ukraine does not field SHORAD, short-range air defense, alongside armored formations. They have limited electronic warfare capabilities. Now, what does that mean? It means that the Patriot system that is out there to protect against ballistic missile incursions, glide bombs, things like that, you're not going to expend a Patriot missile to defend a tank against a $500 drone. That's just not feasible. Now, if you're going to deploy an armor formation, you typically want to have SHORAD nearby to protect against helicopters and now potentially drones and loitering munitions. And you can do that by having an APKWS in the back of a truck, a technical truck, like Toyota is well known for having their vehicles in war, a Humvee or whatever the different case is. Now, I don't know if we have M6 linebackers in U.S. inventory that we could send over there. I'm not well versed on that, but that is a capability to field alongside armor formations that might help, understanding that that is also going to become a target in itself. Now let's get back to the EW spectrum. How can we, now this is a touchy subject. I'm going to say is widely known about the Duke system and the cruise system that was used in Iraq and Afghanistan to counter remote-controlled IEDs. It jams the frequency. Now, that's widely known. How can we employ that in Ukraine? You can jam drone frequencies. You can have a bunch of different transmitters and protect those with SHORAD, however the commanders can figure out how to do that. Jam those frequencies, and also every single input that is done by a drone operator has a transmission or a signature, an EW signature attached to it. So you can find out where that signature is coming from, and then you can do your science and drop artillery on them, send out scouting parties, however you want to counter that threat, however you want to skin that deer, go on and figure that out. But not having that shore ride capability, not having that EW capability, I don't care if you have an M1A2 Set V3 or freaking Set V4, for God's sakes, it's still going to be just as vulnerable as a T-72 when it comes to drone warfare. Now, there are, with the cope cage adaptations, they are seeing success, but it's still a giant sitting duck unless you employ those systems alongside it. Now, is this a case saying the US and NATO should start sending SHORAD? That is for the bureaucrats to discuss, not some random guy on YouTube. You guys figure that out. I'm just giving you the information and the limitations of the capabilities that are currently in theater now. Now, the M1A1 is a stout vehicle. It has seen a lot of service. It has taken a lot of hits through Iraq and some in Afghanistan because the Marine Corps brought their tanks to Afghanistan and Helmand Province. It is a very robust tank. And when people start saying, oh, it's just a trash tank, absolutely not. If it was me, and I spent years on the M1A1 platform, and I've also been on the Set V2 platform, and more recently I got to crawl around the Set V3 platform. If I was to take a T90A or a T80 BVM over an M1A1SA, I would take the SA 10 out of 10 days of the week, brother, even though there's 7 days, but you get the picture. I would take the tried and true stout platform, considering now there would have to be certain things would need to be true. I had the maintenance and the money to keep that tank fully operational. It is a very maintenance heavy tank. Anybody who's been on it knows what I'm talking about. You're going to have certain systems to be able to do, to purge your sights, to do this, to do that to it, and the parts for it are not cheap and they're not necessarily readily available. But if you have the supply chain to support it, dude, that is a really robust tank, and I would highly recommend that the Ukrainians keep fighting on it and keep training on it, because once those systems, if those systems do become available, the SHORAD, the EW stuff, that is going to make things a little bit easier to fight the armored vehicles. M1A1 is not old 80s technology. It is a highly stout, capable platform. Thanks for watching.